Hi everybody, I'm Sarah, and in today's video I'm going to show you how I draw a mountain with the trees and a wildflower field. This is a pretty simple painting that didn't take super long, but it practices some really great skills that you can then transfer to so many different landscapes. All right, let's get started. I'm starting with a 5x7 piece of watercolor paper, and I'm putting a horizon line about 2/3 up the page, and I'm just going to sketch out where I want my mountain to be. This mountain is just going to be peeking up over the tree line that I'll add at the end of this painting, and that looks good enough. I'm going to start with the sky and do a really simple blue sky, so I'm wetting the page with my big mop brush, making sure not to go over the line of the mountain. And I'm just using ultramarine blue as my sky. I'm not getting too fussy with it. I'm not going to add in any clouds because I really want the star of the show to be the wildflowers in the bottom 2/3 of this painting. I added in just a little bit of cobalt teal just to add, I don't know why. I just did because I liked it. Now, while I let that sky dry, I'm going in with my rich green gold and putting in my first layer of this field of wildflowers. While this is wet, I'm going to be using Wet and Wet to dot in my first layer of wildflowers. I could have done this by tapping my brush and using splatter, but I didn't. I wanted a little bit more control. In the background, I'm just putting in these little lines of teeny tiny wildflower sections. And then as it gets lower on the page down at the bottom, I'm putting in larger individual spots. These are blending into the green color, which I knew they would because this is Wet and Wet, but I'm going to be adding layers later to build up the wildflowers. So I'm going to have some yellow wildflowers. Now I'm using Opera Rose to dot in some pink. And same process, I'm trying to be really random where I place them. And then as I go backwards, back in the field, my dots get smaller and smaller and closer together and kind of more clumped and in lines instead of more individual down at the bottom. It's always a good idea when you're painting to kind of plan out what you can work on in discrete sections. So I can do all these things and not interfere with the sky. But if I tried to work on the mountain while the sky was this wet, there's a good chance it would bleed up into the sky, which I don't want. My field is still wet, so I'm adding in my darker green. This is undersea green, and I'm going around a lot of those flower shapes. I'm not covering up all of the green gold, that original layer, because I want some variation, but I'm just kind of like dotting around the clumps of wildflowers. And because it's still mostly wet, it is still soft and melody. I'm pressing down on my brush in different ways so that I'm not just using the tip to get these little dots, but I'm pressing down with the belly of the brush in order to get these larger sections. As I'm in the back of this wildflower field, I am going lighter and softer. And down at the bottom of the field, I'm going a bit darker with the shadow. I've done a lot of these wildflower fields recently, and what I've learned is that uh, it takes practice to figure out how wet everything needs to be so that they don't all just kind of splodge together. I put down these first layers of wildflowers because I want them to stay there. But as I add in the green, if my field is still wet, if it's too wet and the paint I add down is also really wet, it might all just blend together. It's not the end of the world because I can always let it dry and add more later, but it is a consideration to keep in mind of you might need to experiment with how wet you want your paper to be and how wet you want the paint on your brush to be. I added in a little bit of white gouache. I'll add a little bit more of that as splatter later. And then in the background, just to give us a little bit of texture, I'm using dry brush. So I'm having my paint be really dry. I'm kind of tapping it against my napkin, my paper towel, so that I can just drag my brush across the paper and get that texture. Now for the mountain, I'm doing kind of the same idea. I have this gray that I am laying down not over everything on the mountain, and I'm going pretty parallel with my paintbrush, going parallel against the paper to get some dry brush as well as some larger swatches of gray. I'm leaving a lot of that top part of the mountain white because that's where more snow would be. And then I'm dragging my brush along the paper to try to get these like mountain ridges, rock ridges, but still allow some of that white to poke through. You'll see that I use a bit of paper towel to blot up at different times because I think my paint was a little bit too wet. See, there I go. And I darkened it kind of prematurely. I wanted a bit more texture, like I'm dotting in some rocks there. I wanted a bit more texture, but there's nothing wrong with having a piece of paper towel and lifting a little bit while it's still dry. LOL. I mean, while it's still wet. Once it's dry, it's kind of too late. Okay. That field is pretty dry, so now I'm taking that pink color and dotting in more wildflowers, kind of generally over the top of where I laid down those first pink splotches. But now because the field is dry, I am not having them flow and mix and swoosh together. Why can't I think of what does watercolor do? I'm not having them blend. The word is blend into the field. Again, I could have done this with splatter and it would have been fine, but I just felt like doing it myself. Same thing with this yellow. It doesn't show up a ton against the green because it's more of a muted yellow, but I still have those areas where I put down the original dots of color and I'm dotting that in. Now I have my darkest green and I'm adding in this tree line. So after all the work I did on the mountain, I am covering up a lot of it because, again, I just want it to be peeking its little head up over the tree line. I'm doing vertical lines for the trunk and then these kind of squiggles back and forth for some trees. Now I'm showing you this at 2 times speed. So I did these pretty quick, but not as quick as what you're seeing. But even so, I didn't take a super long time on these trees. Sometimes I'll put in the trunks first, and sometimes I'll just do the entire tree in one go. I'm adding more, and I made this tree pretty tall, which meant I felt like I had to adjust the heights of the rest of the trees, not so that they all matched, but so that they felt cohesive as a tree line, which means I covered up more of the mountain than I was planning on, but just happy accidents. It's a good idea when you're painting to think about darks and lights and having one area like this tree line be the darkest part of the painting. Your eyes are drawn to it, your eyes are then drawn up to the mountain, but you have this beautiful field of wildflowers that have some medium darks, but it allows for some contrast and it makes it really pleasing instead of it all being kind of matchy-matchy with the same level of darks and lights. I'm adjusting some of my trees, again, just to not have that one tall one be the only one standing out. Ooh, goodbye, mountain. If you're still practicing your trees and you kind of feel shaky about it, you could take a pen and wait for everything to dry and then draw trees with your pen. That would be super cute. You could use pen to go over everything and give a little bit of pen and ink and watercolor. Go over the mountain, go over the wildflowers, maybe not go over everything perfectly, but it adds another texture, and that style can look really cool. I'm adding splatter here with white because I really want to make this feel like a messy field and like not manicured, but very wild, right? Because it's a field of wildflowers. And that feels very summery to me. It makes me feel like I need to take my allergy medicine, but it'll be worth it because it's really pretty. When using splatter on a painting, the level of wetness of your paint is going to dictate the size of the splatter. If you want really teeny tiny splatters, you need to use less water. So you might need to dab your brush against the paper towel before you splatter. If you want big old blobs, then you're going to use wetter paint and just let it do its thing. All right, thanks for watching, everybody. Taking the tape off. Hope you enjoyed this one. Hope you try it out. Tune in next time. Bye.